everyone. Once again, I think Dr. Wada was having some issues, so I had to hop off. But anyways, this is the amazing piece of Instagram. There she is. Yay. So I'm sitting outside. Thank you so much for joining us. I decided to sit outside too. It's so pretty here. I know. It's a little like background noise, which I don't like. And I didn't end up finding my AirPods, but we should be okay. I'm hoping your voice is really choppy. Can't hear you.
Can you hear better now?
Yeah, much better.
I had it propped up. There's a little hummingbird that keeps doing circles around this plant that's next to me. So if I turn the screen, it's to try to give everyone a view of the hummingbird.
That's amazing. Guys, we just love to catch up behind the scenes all the time and on IG Live too, whenever we get together. We'll do a little introduction quickly just for our new followers. I'm Jenifer. I'm autoimmune dietitian, and I work mainly with women who have autoimmune illness to help them effortlessly adopt anti-inflammatory, gut-friendly eating pattern and lifestyle. And Dr. Wada is my partner in crime.
Partner in healing. My name is Kara Wada. I am also known as the Crunchy Allergist. It's my nickname. I am a Sjogren's patient and an allergy immunology physician. I work at The Ohio State University in Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my husband and my 3 kiddos, ages 8 months up to almost 7. What I really feel like I'm put on this planet to do is to help folks feel empowered with accurate education and science kind of behind what's going on with their bodies. And when their immune systems aren't quite reading the textbooks, also let go of limiting beliefs and a lot of the mindset that can really hamper our health and healing. And through my own personal issues with my illness and professional burnout, I have really found so much health and healing through anti-inflammatory lifestyle and through techniques I learned through life coaching.
Yeah.
How we
Yay.
work together.
Yes. I mean, a little background, like Kara and I met in one of my nutrition coaching programs. I was like, let me help autoimmune warriors through nutrition because there's so much overwhelm. There's so much confusion. There are influencers recommending to do celery juice diets and keto diet and intermittent fasting and different like diets for weight loss. I, as a healthcare provider with an expertise in anti-inflammatory eating pattern, as well as being a registered dietitian and daughter of chronic illness warrior, I decided to combine everything and take a leap of faith and start a nutrition coaching program for autoimmune warriors to help them with the anti-inflammatory eating pattern, the evidence-based kind. Kara joined one of my programs and she loved it. I think she did.
Yes. Overwhelmingly.
Then over time, we became friends and now we are doing several programs together. But today we're hopping on here not to talk about our programs because we are excited to announce that every Friday, Kara and I will be doing our lunch break IG chat, talking about real life stories. Sometimes we'll talk about like patient stories and client stories and how they experience transformation. Sometimes it's going to be different topic that Kara can bring forward or I can bring forward. Topic is about autoimmune burnout. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this live or even replay afterward. Do you experience autoimmune burnout? Or when I say these words, autoimmune burnout, what comes to mind? We'll wait a few seconds for you guys to interact because we both love interaction, responding. If you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that, please drop them in the comments. We would be happy to chat more about that specific thing as well. In your experience, Kara, as a healthcare provider, a doctor, mom, and someone living with autoimmune chronic illness, what does it mean to you by like autoimmune burnout?
Yeah. I think for me, one of the biggest things that I have dealt with in years past is this feeling that I needed to do things perfectly. I think that really perpetuated to this point of burnout. If you didn't do everything right, that it wasn't going to work. So if you couldn't do everything right, then why bother in the first place? I think getting caught in this frame of mind of perfectionism is prevalent. I also had some magical thinking that if I found the exact right recipe or of things to do, that would be the secret sauce to help me be better. It looks like Anna has said that she's tired of the ups and downs and the wondering if something's going to be wrong. Yeah, that uncertainty weighs so heavy. When is that shoe going to drop? Need for a break from your own body. Oh, goodness. Wouldn't that be a vacation from our illness?
Yeah. I think the self-blame piece is such a huge piece because I think we all tend to go there. What did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Why do I have this? In this aspect, what I want to bring forward is also the concept of creating more space. Like Greta said, need for a break from your own body, med, diet, fatigue. I think this overwhelm also happens because of a very masculine nature of our society, which means we are females. We have a female body. Our bodies go through a whole cycle in a day, cycles in a month, and then cycles over our lifetime, like motherhood. And so much is going on with our bodies. If we add too much on our plate, I think that doesn't allow any white space in life to be. Like our female self wants to just be lay on the beach, eat grapes and cheese. We just want to be. But in this society which is perpetuated, go do more, I think that's where all this exhaustion comes into play because we're constantly trying to chase the next thing that we can do. Oftentimes, I feel like this is a huge blind spot where trying to do so many things creates a stress in our body. Stress is such a trigger for autoimmune flares. If you're constantly in that chronic stress, it's causing chronic inflammation. It's causing also hormonal imbalances. Even if you're trying your best with so many things, nothing seems to be in control. Again, because of that chronic boiling stress inside.
I love how we talk about the same paradigms with different words. I think in terms of left brain and right brain, it's probably because of just how I've learned it through the coaching aspects too. But essentially, we are enculturated and we are brought up to really be in this logical part of our brain, this brain that is your to-do list, checking things off. And like you said, going for that next gold star. It's so important then to work on rebalancing and to really strengthen the muscles of our right brain, that creative, empathic space that is full of hope. It's really acknowledging that present moment that you are in, because it's really all that we have. Our past and our future are things that are only exist in our thoughts, which is meta, but true if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also worrying about the thing. I was talking to a client last night and she's like, yeah, I worry about the things that haven't even happened. I constantly worry and I'm constantly thinking about all the things that will go wrong. And she was going back to work after a couple of days of going on a break, trip to Mexico. And when she came back, she thought was the sky's going to be fallen in the office in her absence. But nothing was. Everything was in place. Things were going well. We talked about strategies on when she goes back, how she's going to deal with those things, but nothing had fallen apart. There are some anticipations that we have and we think about this is going to go wrong, but in reality, those things may not go wrong. And it's just us calling in and thinking, oh, this is going to go wrong. But I think a good way to flip that script, do you have an example for that?
I was just going to say, you think about all of the stress hormones, the time, the energy that were used then in that worry for something that never manifested, never came up. And in the end, you're like, that was all for
I think flipping that script in your head in a way where you're starting to worry is like bringing yourself back and like just giving yourself like a solid hug and saying, I'm right there. Like, I'm here. I'm with you. You're going to be okay. I watch all these random medical shows and I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. Like, I just love watching because I learn medical conditions and things. There's a doctor with Asperger's syndrome and she gets like really anxious with a lot of touching and hugging, but she calls in other doctors to hug her tightly. This is what she was talking about, how before there's this may be a weird example, but before they're slaughtered, like they are pressured, given that pressure, so they feel calm. I think like some of these things are really helpful just to showcase self-love and just to hug ourselves and just let us know that everything is okay. These are things that I am anticipating and they're not going to happen. I think that belief is missing because with autoimmune chronic illness, there's so much unpredictability that believing in things like I can have a flare free life. I know that is one of your big goals for this year, I think. Flare free. It also is like setting a goal, trusting and believing that all the actions I'm putting in, all the effort I'm putting into this, it's going to happen. I feel like as soon as we start going into that negative spiral of nothing is going to work out, if a flare hits, we lose trust. We feel like it's not going to work. I'm not going to be flare free. Then I think there's misalignment between your goals and your beliefs. I think this may sound to a lot of people, but I do believe that this is possible. And it's not going to happen, magically. When you start believing, your actions are going to and fall in alignment with those beliefs. We believe a certain thing, then we act in a certain way, and then we receive. I think the actions are going to be in alignment with the belief. If we don't believe that it's going to happen, then actions going to be like, I'm always stressed. I'm going to give up. It's not working. And the outcomes are going to be in that kind of line.
Yeah. I said that there's this concept of having these, they're called BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, just setting that goal to something that you really think may be unattainable. And that's okay. Like a real stretch goal, realize that that's the pie in the sky and you're looking to that and being inspired by that. For me, that's something that's really challenging for my brain to wrap itself around because I go into the science of you could get a viral infection and that could trip off, but it also like I have that goal on actually Post-it notes scattered throughout the house and at my office. So I have one on the bathroom mirror. I have one next to where my meds are by the coffee pot. And then I have one on my computer at the office because those are places that every day it's coming into my field of view. And it just is that little subtle reminder of, oh yes, I need to take my meds. The one in the kitchen is not far from where the snacks are. So I see that and I think, oh, instead of having this really sweet dessert, like I already had some stuff that was a little bit more carbohydrate heavy. Let's have something that's more protein and fat to balance that out. It helps inform my decision so that I'm not just completely flying blind through my day.
Yeah. Also, a little difference between the words need and want. Like we often say, I need, and I'm not calling you out, but I think that's our nature to just say, I need to do these things. But also, there's a huge difference between needing to do something and wanting something. Right? If we say, I want to, like little kids, I want ice cream, I want this, I want that. Like kids don't, I need ice cream. Again, it's also like what they hear a lot about. So needing is more like also, what do I need? I need this to help me with that. But I want this. It's just such an abundance word. I want all this in my life. I am worthy of it. This is something that I was going to talk about in our ripple effect call later. as well, because I see a lot of women saying need a lot and then how to start using the word want more just to bring that abundance, amplification of that abundance.
It's those subtle shifts in our work, in our thoughts that really then do inform our feelings and our actions. It's a much easier for us to believe those subtle changes and make a series of subtle changes as opposed to maybe a big sweeping like, oh, I'm cured. It's not a believable thought to say I'm cured in your head or something that's like way outlandish. But if you make these subtle little changes called ladder thoughts, essentially you can stair step your way towards your end goal.
Yeah. So just coming back into like the autoimmune burnout piece, when you say I need to drink more water, I need to do this because I want to feel better. Versus like when we say I want to drink water, I want to drink more water for glowing skin, for in Sjogren's case, because you have dry mouth. So it's hydrating. It's for better bowel movements. If I have better bowel movements, there's going to be much better natural detoxification. Like we need better,
less gas, less bloating.
Yes, exactly. Better detoxification of estrogen, because as women, we want to make sure that our estrogen detoxification pathways are really good, because again, that can cause a hormonal flare. There's so many things in our body that we can naturally detox, and just one little goal as little as drinking. I want to drink more water. That sounds so fun. I think those subtle shifts can be really helpful. And one of the reasons, and with the burnout piece, is like, what is it? It's chronic stress, it's chronic worry, it's chronically thinking that if I hit a flare, it's going to last forever. But I think creating that space throughout the day for gratitude and for celebrating those little wins can be really helpful to calm the nervous system. I think with autoimmune burnout, calming nervous system is so important, because if you go into that cycle, I want to call it like a very negative spinning cycle, then your whole body's amplified with stress. But if you are able to calm your nervous system by creating those little space, the white space, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow's training for ripple effect. Just quickly, like creating that white space in your day is so important. I see on your Instagram stories, like you go on little walks with your daughters, you go to orchards and things like that, maybe involves your kids into cooking. I see those things. Yeah, exactly. I see those things as white space in your calendar where you're just being, being, not doing anything. You don't always have to do. Just being can really help relieve that stress and burnout too.
That's actually something that was really instrumental that I learned through my coach training, was how to better arrange my schedule so that I have a lot of folks that will ask, well, how do you do all the things that you do? Because I like to have a lot of pots on the stove, so to speak, but essentially like time blocking and making sure that I schedule in time for the meal prep, for time for my kids, for exercise or movement. I try to make sure that each of those has its spot on the calendar, that they're not getting left by the wayside. There is a time that is scheduled in, that is guilt-free time. It is on my schedule. I'm keeping a date with myself. Do those things.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a few things that we talked about is self-love and just shifting that frame of mind. When you're really feeling like all the negative thoughts come in, is like really showcasing self-love even by your own gestures. Then we talked about this white space, creating that space in your calendar for you time. Like as moms, a lot of you, I don't know, maybe busy professionals with autoimmune illness, or mom plus working moms with autoimmune illness, you're taking care of kids. That's why scheduling that time, I have to constantly remind my clients, and they smile on the calls and they're like, yeah, I'm taking break. Like last night, my client is I go take a stroll in the parking lot like multiple times a day, and my mom laughs at me. She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "In Texas, it's really hot. What can I do? I can't go for a long walk. So I'm just going to take little strolls for that, like free time. Just no thinking, nothing, no podcast, just with yourself, because that is the time when a lot of things will come to you that is going to be really helpful. One other thing with the autoimmune burnout that I wanted to talk about is setting up the environment. Your environments that you live in is so important. I've noticed and I've seen you do these like little clutter-free things, days, themes that you're doing, and organizing an organized kitchen. Having an organized kitchen can have so many steps before the kitchen is really organized. 15 minutes of just putting in some thought of, okay, how am I going to organize my kitchen? Done. What happens is organized kitchen, and we spend all the time the same day, all the spoons that we have to organize the kitchen. But spreading that one thing throughout the week and doing little like 5-10 minute tasks around that will help you get an organized kitchen, but maybe not right away. And it's that perfectionist in us. Quick, we want to get everything done quickly, but spreading it out throughout the week in mini tasks can help you achieve your big goal.
That's exactly what we ended up actually doing. We had planned on having a little garage sale to get rid of some extra stuff. There was a series of a couple weeks where there was more clutter sitting around, but it was like we were in this transition space. So the before and the after, we were sitting in that. That was okay. We said to ourselves, it's okay that there's stuff on the dining table, there's stuff on the floor. We're in progress, and that's okay. So I spent an hour doing the pantry and making sure like the canned goods and the beans and the lentil and the cereals and grains were all like in a nice space. And then did the same idea with the fridge and the freezer. Did each of those in separate times so that I wasn't taking using up all my spoons. I wasn't taking away from time I had planned on spending with my kids or getting some movement or me time in.
There could be so much like mom guilt too when you have autoimmune illness. I have a lot of mom clients, and it's the guilt surrounding that is like, I don't have the spoons left, or I don't have the energy to spend more time with my kid, or run with my kid, or play with my kid, or go on adventures with my kid. I think also if that is one of your goals, then taking baby steps towards that goal, even exercising. I told one of my clients, if your daughter is eating the oatmeal, just sitting there with her just for 5 minutes and really noticing, right? How she's eating. Is she saying anything? Is she like making any gestures around it? Is she saying, "Oh, mommy, this tastes like very cinnamony," or anything like those words? Are those coming up? I think that 5 minutes of quality of time can fill your cup so much more than trying to get an hour or hour and a half with your kid. I think like the moments that we actually spend with each other, we are not fully present. Then we're chasing that. We're feeling stressed about not having enough time or not having enough energy. We all have 24 hours, but I also feel like, how much are you doing? If you're exercising, you're spending like 2 hours on a walk, that's way too much for autoimmune illness. Okay, 15-20 minutes is great and it's going to be goal supportive. But if you spend 2 hours, almost 1.5 hours on walking, you're expending a lot of spoons, and then you have to fuel your body accordingly as well. Hydrate, so many things, sleep well. If you're not getting good quality sleep and you're going on long walks, even though you enjoy them, but thinking about, are these walks really helping me? Can I reduce the length? This is the conversation I've had to have with a client of mine who loves exercising, who would be at the gym, but coming up with ideas of like how to reduce exercise and do more goal supportive exercises. It's not that you're going to give up exercise, But for now, let's try ways where exercise can really support you versus do you more, I shouldn't say more harm, but yeah, create that stress in your body, which can create more fatigue and inflammation.
For me, like right now, that's looked like doing more walking, like short walks, but also strength exercises to build my muscles back up a little bit. And I've had this tendency. So I have a Peloton bike. And so you can see all the metrics. That's a good thing, bad thing. I can see where I am and monitor my progress. It also becomes a competition, or it has that tendency. I essentially hide the metrics now so that I'm doing it more on how I feel and making sure I'm feeling like I'm moving and getting my heart rate up. I'm also not getting to the point where I know it will trigger my asthma or it will trigger me to be sore and not able to walk in the days after, because that's too inflammatory. It's not the good inflammation. It's too much of a good thing.
Yeah, because the thing is, when I read forms, a lot of clients, they don't have proper nutrition in place before exercise, after exercise, specific antioxidant rich things that they should be doing to work out to help with that muscle soreness and things like that. If you don't have the knowledge or know how to fuel your exercise properly, but you're exercising and thinking, okay, I'm trying to do all the things, but why isn't it working? It's because of, okay, you're doing the reactive oxygen species are generating in your bodies. What are you doing afterwards? Are you hydrating throughout the day? That's like such a common theme in our clients, is like water intake is so low, despite of knowing actually drinking enough water. And I'm guilty of that too. When I have my periods, I'm extra mindful of drinking more water because I want to make sure that my body is fully hydrated, especially around periods. Those are so unique to women's body. And we try to do things according to male bodies. That's what we are taught. And it just doesn't work like that.
Nope.
Yeah.
What's really sad is it was only within the last less than decade that in research, especially when it came to, I think, neuro research, but like having female like mice or in these research studies, like that was not required. It wasn't even suggested. Now it's at least suggested. I was talking with someone for the podcast, an upcoming episode, which I'm excited to share with everyone, but really so much of the science research that we've had and based our decisions and our care on have been on the male body, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's why we try so hard in our programs to make sure that it is autoimmune specific female body related, the nutrition education, because that is like so important. I also find that things like intermittent fasting, keto, these are diets that are number one. When I ask my clients, are you going to do this for your whole life? No, the research was not done in autoimmune population. Then keto, if it's very high in fat and not good types of fat, what it's going to do, including autoimmune protocol, it's going to just create more inflammation. With autoimmune illness comes heart disease. And research has shown that including a lot of saturated fat is not good. So the dietitian in me comes out even on topics like this. It's a type of a burnout when you're chasing different diets that are not meant for autoimmune female specific bodies. I want to scream this on the rooftops and say these diets are not meant. Number one, for female bodies, there isn't enough research. And then on top of that, autoimmune illness. Only now we're starting to learn more and more about autoimmune illness and the diet and things like that. Yeah. But we're almost done. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think really, I would love to just encourage anyone who's tuning in now or later, like just take a moment for yourself today, even if it's just a moment to do like grounding exercise where you're sitting in a chair, you feel your bottom in the chair, your feet on the ground. Just take that moment. Try to think some positive thoughts about yourself. Maybe think about a moment of gratitude or a win for this week. No matter how big or how small, it doesn't matter. really just take that first step.
Saying to yourself, like, I'm proud of this today. I'm proud that I dropped my kid off today. That's a big one. You dropping your kid off is such a big deal because you got out of bed, you took care of the things, and you dropped off your kid. So say that you're proud of that. Bring that, the self-love. That is step number one in really regulating nervous system, reducing stress and inflammation. The diet is not good for women. Absolutely, it's not. As we do more IG Live, we're going to talk more about different topics. Just know that both of us are healthcare providers. The things that we talk about here are the things that you can take with yourself and leave, the things that you don't think resonate with you or are applicable to you. This is not individualized advice. If you want that, sure, reach out to us. Our DMs are open. With any questions about our current programs that we are offering, we'd be happy to direct you to the right program. Otherwise, this is just for inspiration and bringing some nuggets of information and awareness out there. I have to hop off because I have to go to the ripple effect call. So I'm
Great.
really excited.
I'm going to go help teach future allergists this afternoon.
Yay! Amazing. Teach them the importance of anti-inflammatory.
Absolutely. They can't avoid that when they work with me. Take care.